What's going on, you guys? Petplatypus here, and I didn't really have any videos planned for today, so I thought, why not go a little bit more into the animation process? I'm going to start working on animation again to finish up the one that I've been working on. It's probably like a little over halfway done, and this next cut is going to be kind of interesting, and I already talked about like the digital side of it once everything's redrawn and I'm actually animating. So let's talk a little bit about how I do the frames on paper. So what's the measurements on this fucking tracing paper actually? Let's see, we got 9" by 12", and what I do is I fold it in half. I try to be really careful because it's super thin paper, folds really easily. I want to get it really as even as I possibly can. The best thing about redrawing these things digitally is they don't have to be perfectly even. But there you got that. And then we're going to take the pencil, and this is going to be frame 1 of this cut, so I got everything in order. And now we're going to draw it, so I guess I'll just time-lapse through what I'm drawing, and then we'll pick up from there. Okay, so here's the frame, and that took a while actually, but it's pretty rough overall, but I'm going to redraw it and make little corrections here and there digitally. Now you might be wondering what this little circle is for. Well, I'm going to run the clip on screen right now. From Dragon Ball Super episode 66, we had this really fantastic scene by Naoto Shida that I talked about in my review, and during that cut, there was this really, really cool looking slide back where he slid towards the camera, it turned around his head, and he slid away. I'm probably not describing it that well, but you can see it on screen. It's really, really brief. And originally this cut of him sliding back was going to be very conservative on animation, but I decided I bought more paper. Let's try doing something a little more risky. Let's try doing something a little bit more dynamic and try to get better at animation. So that circle is there because I drew him big so I could get all the proportions right. And then what I'm going to do is when I do this in digital, I have that there as a marker. So I'm going to resize him there, and then either I'm going to continuously enlarge the frame so that he slides back to this spot and then slides a little bit further back to around here, and then the animation will change to turn around his head, and then he'll slide back. So that's essentially the idea. It'll pretty much look exactly like that cut. I hate to rip it off, but this is just practice after all. And yeah, so I just want that spot kind of marked. And then the reason why I fold the paper in half was not only just to get this shot right, but I can flip, and then we refold it right here on the line again. And now it's underneath. We draw a 2 right over the 1. And then boom, any changes I want to make to him, any corrections that I wanted to make, or just to continue animating, and now the paper's not really lined up as well. Hold up. Technical difficulties. Like I said, this tracer paper folds really easy, so it's just like kind of a pain in the ass sometimes. There we go. And yeah, it's still mostly lined up. So yeah, if I wanted him to start doing something different while sliding or whatever, it's complicated, but it works, you know. In fact, let me like draw the ground actually where he'll be. There we go. I should probably draw that on the actual frame with him in it, but, you know, this is just like if I wanted his hand to do anything. Like, for example, in one of the previous cuts in the other animation I made for this fight, as he's sliding back, you see him turning his arms to steel before he punches them together. If I wanted to do that, that's what I could do here. In fact, I know exactly what I can do with it, because I drew the ground here, and I know that he'll start here, and this will be about where he'll be in the middle, and you know, I'll shrink the frames and everything. Let me actually, I can sort of show the path he'll take, right? So, I don't know how well you guys can see this on camera, but there's the path he'll take, right? And then His head will probably reach about here. So there's his head. Let's draw the hat. Do the brim of the hat, or whatever it's called on a hat like this. You'd think I'd know since he never takes it off, but regardless. And put the little strap right there, or whatever that is, the little belt around the hat. You know, his head will reach about there, and then it'll start to move over more this way and turn. You know, very similar to the cut by Naotoshi Shida. Now this won't look as good as his cut. I'll probably lower the frame rate a bit, have it go by a little bit faster. I'll make alterations to make it my own, but, you know, and plus I'm nowhere near as talented as him, of course. But yeah, that's pretty much the idea. So this is a good, this was a good idea to actually show the path I want him to take. And then it's all up to redrawing it digitally, which I may make a video about that in the future, who knows. But yeah, this works. This works out really nicely. And it won't just be a still image of him that I'm going to reframe and resize over and over. I'll probably, you know, like up to about here, it'll probably be a bunch of resizes, and then I'll redraw it more detailed, have it move a few steps, then redraw it more detailed, and once it gets to where his head is, and then I'll start frame 3, which will be another sheet of paper. Like, what I do, oh yeah, I better show that too, because that's another thing. I don't just do, like, that really just fell. Anyways, gotta be really careful tearing these out, because there we go. Fold this one in half. It's not the best, but okay. Pick this one up, and essentially just put this one right inside. And now they're held together pretty nicely. They're, you know, held together. And then I just put a 3. And then I want his head to rotate, so I can mostly reframe the hat. I'm just sort of roughly doing this. I'll probably erase this as just for an example. Very roughly go over it. And his head will start to turn, so, you know, we draw the eye coming around, still very close to that side of his head, really, like that. And then it'll come in a little bit further, and there's a lot of digital stuff I have to do, so that's why I'm not going into too much detail about this part, but, you know, that's basically it. That's basically what I do. I'll just stack them up like this. Once I draw frames 3 and 4, I usually don't need to go back to frame 2. I don't need that still inside of there. I can usually take that out and then just wrap 5 and 6 around 3 and 4. But that's what I do to animate on paper before I put them in for the digital corrections and everything, which I've technically only done once, but it works a lot better. It works really good for saving on paper and making corrections and all kinds of stuff like that. So, with all that being said, did you find this video informative? Was it too confusing? I'm not really good at explaining this kind of thing. I just didn't really have a video planned for today, so I figured I'd give you guys something. And I thought this would be an interesting topic to discuss. So, with all that being said, once again, what did you guys think? Did you enjoy this video? Go ahead and tell me in the comment section below. You can also follow me on Instagram or add me on PSN. I'm petplatypus on both. You can also give this video a thumbs up and share it on social media. Both those would help me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already, or if you like what you've seen here. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.